Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo, rereading the basics of Buddhism by Pat Allwright. And today's chapter is about the oneness of body and mind. Life at each moment encompasses both body and spirit. So, what is matter? Never mind. What is mind? Never matter. For centuries, philosophers, theologians, and scientists have argued about the nature of the basic components of life. Is life essentially composed entirely of matter, with mind and consciousness a byproduct of the human brain? Or is it essentially spiritual, with the body merely a vessel? Or are mind and matter independent entities which are in some way connected? Generally speaking, there are two main schools of thought: those who see life in a purely physical terms and those who believe it is spiritual. This polarization of viewpoints is demonstrated in the treatment of ill health. There is much evidence indicating the importance of a patient's positive attitude to recovery. Even so, the emphasis in medicinal science still lies heavily on physical treatments such as surgery and drugs. Conversely, faith healers often use treatments which are wholly spiritual. It is widely accepted nowadays that the state of one's mind influences one's body, and equally that one's physical condition affects the state of one's mind. However, the practical implications of this inseparability remains largely in the realm of theory. On the whole, the separation between mind and body persists in science, medicine, religion, and politics. From the point of view of Nichiren Buddhism, body and mind are equal and interdependent. This principle is known as the oneness of body and mind, Shiki Shin Funi. Body, or the material aspect shiki, includes everything which could be outwardly discerned, such as color, form, and texture. Mind, or spirit, shin, refers to those aspects of life which are inner or invisible, such as emotions, will, and personality. Their oneness is indicated by the word funi, which means two but not two, and not two but two. This is not intended to be a riddle, but to clarify that although we can observe body and mind separately, in essence they are one. Neither is caused by the other. Furthermore, one cannot exist without the other. Both arise from the same fundamental entity, life itself. A person can know another's mind by listening to his voice. This is because the physical aspect reveals the spiritual aspect. The physical and spiritual, which are one in essence, manifest themselves as two distinct aspects. All functions of life are revealed both physically and spiritually. Sleep refreshes the body, yet also has a vital psychological role. Reading a book which inspires or entertains our minds also involves the use of our bodies. Work, whether manual or desk bound, involve both thought and physical exertion. The unseen, spiritual workings of life are, of course, more difficult to analyze than visible actions. They can only be observed through their physical manifestations. Perhaps this is why the emphasis in the physical sciences have always been on matter. Yet, when matter is reduced to its smallest particles, the difference between something and nothing becomes increasingly difficult to discern. Interestingly, recent scientific theories suggest that consciousness is inherent in life, all life, including objects such as stones. This idea comes closest to the Buddhist perception that all life, including insentient life, has both physical and spiritual aspects. In society as a whole, we can see the shortcomings of placing emphasis on either the material or the spiritual. European societies have in the past placed spiritual values highly. Unfortunately, more often than not, this led to hypocrisy. For example, many people in power maintain their own physical comforts while placating those in poverty with the promise of rewards after death. However, certain Minimum physical requirements are necessary to people's well being. One cannot be said to be leading a fulfilled life if starving and cold. These dual standards and the divorcing of the spiritual from the physical tends to breed an attitude of resignation. In the second half of the 20th century, the opportunity to achieve a good standard of living became available to many more people. Understandably, along with this, there arose a degree of skepticism as to the importance of spirituality and the value of religion in general. Likewise, societies based on materialism, such as our own, in the present day demonstrate that it is virtually impossible to establish a truly prosperous society if no regard is paid to the physical self. It would seem that it is not possible for people to demonstrate integrity and overcome corruption if they have no personal spiritual values. People need values such as honesty, even in the pursuit of materialism. A constructive and fulfilling society must be based on the equal importance of both material and spiritual values. Since they are inseparable, there can be no mental well being without physical well being, and vice versa. This is amply illustrated by the modern syndrome of stress. Stress can be caused by noise, hunger, death, or financial anxiety, to name but a few environmental and psychological triggers. Equally, the effects of stress are both physical and mental, resulting in the irritation, tension, depression, high blood pressure, stomach ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, and so on. Stress can be alleviated in many ways, such as positive thinking, exercise, even swimming with dolphins. It is becoming not just desirable but vital that in all fields of endeavor, equal importance is given to the body and the mind. In contrast to many other religions, the practice of Nichiren Buddhism is not directed solely towards spiritual enlightenment. It influences our lives at a fundamental level. Chanting Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo affects us mentally in various ways, giving rise to optimism, determination, and joy. At the same time, it affects every cell in our bodies. For this reason, posture and concentration are important when chanting, as well as a steady rhythm. Many people have found that chanting Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo has helped them to overcome illness because it affects both the body and the mind. Furthermore, our aim in practicing Nichiren Buddhism is to improve all aspects of our lives, as well as developing ourselves spiritually. It is also important to fulfill ourselves at work and establish harmonious relationships. We therefore direct our chanting towards improvements in our material circumstances as well as towards our spiritual well-being. Buddhism defines two kinds of benefit: conspicuous and inconspicuous. Conspicuous benefit corresponds to the body or the material circumstances, while inconspicuous benefits correspond to the improvement in our character, such as increased wisdom and energy. At their root, these two kinds of benefits cannot be separated either. For example, increased wisdom leads us to take care of our health and discover what type of jobs suit us best. More energy is in itself healthy and enables us to be more active in society. Respect and compassion are also activated by our practice, naturally creating tolerance and harmony in relationships with others. In discussing this subject, Daisuke Aikida says, "For ancient times, philosophers and theologians have formulated various concepts of the relationship between the mind and the body. The doctrines born of these concepts are numerous and different in kind, but all of them fall into one of the two general categories, materialistic or spiritualistic. Followers of both ways have done much for the sake of cultural development, and I believe that these achievements deserve proper evaluation. For example, by expounding morality and love, spiritualists have contributed greatly to keeping human society truly humane. For their part, the materialistic have laid the foundations for the formation and development of modern science. Still, I am unable to embrace either approach without reservation. Although the materialists recognized man's spiritual functions, By considering the physical body the original source of being, they tend to view life itself as material in nature. Furthermore, when agreeing with the spiritualist, this reason, intellect, desire, and other mental functions are the basis of the truly humane way of life. And I cannot subscribe to the philosophy that the physical aspects of human life and the physically related human desires are to be despised. Both the materialistic and the spiritualistic seem to pursue only one aspect of the issue and fail to grasp the relationship between spirit and body. Interesting concept, people. So, tomorrow is all about the oneness of self and environment. So, until tomorrow, Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo.